Arena Breakout Infinite Beta has just launched and I've been able to spend a couple of days playing it, but there was just one question. Is it a good extraction shooter? Now, when it comes to extraction shooters, it boils down to a few things. Of course, we have to somewhat compare it to Tarkov, because it's the game that paved the way for the genre. But there are several things that an extraction shooter has to deliver for it to feel like a strong contender, which, spoiler alert, I think Arena Breakout does pretty well. Extraction games are primarily looter shooters. You go in, you get out, and hopefully you've bagged yourself some goodies, and are better off than you were before you went in. Now, that's pretty broad, but there are several feelings and mechanics that need to be captured in the game for it to feel worth it and make it a competitive contender. The gameplay has to be enjoyable, or else what's the point? Features and graphics are great, but if the game feels clunky and awkward, why bother? After seeing the trailers and gameplay videos which raised caution prior to release, it's safe to say the movement feels solid. It can somewhat look gimmicky at times, but I feel like it's very responsive and accurate. I feel like every game has its own feel to movement. Hunt and Tarkov feel quite different, but both work great. I had zero issues picking this up and it felt fluid. Aiming and shooting feels brilliant, recoil could use a little work, but it's beta after all. There was a lot of worries due to the game being first on mobile and how they would bring it to PC, but there are no worries there now. Risk versus reward. This is the bread and butter of an extraction shooter. It's the moments like, do I take this fight? I haven't got much ammo. Or, crap, I've just found something I need to get out, but I'm out of some extract and I'm shitting it. The feeling you get when you win a challenging battle and get to strip all the goodies off the unlucky enemy and you extract. That right there is the pinnacle of the extraction shooter experience. Now, does Arena Breakout give that feeling? I'd say, yeah. Do I feel it's as risky and stressful as Tarkov? Maybe not currently, but it 1000% has those elements and it's made it extremely fun. Does it bother me when I die and lose my things? Yeah, and that's exactly how you should feel in an extraction shooter. The goal is to extract or lose everything. It needs to have that risk, and it definitely does. When you first start in the beta, you are greeted with a character creation screen, and more options would be nice, but it's decent that you get to personalise your character a bit. In your stash, you're given a couple modified guns, a few helmets, some body armors, and meds. You also start with 500,000 Keons, which is Arena Breakout's currency. I'd say this is a solid starting point after playing the game for a bit, but you realise as a noob to Arena Breakout, like myself, it isn't as fast to make money like Tarkov. In Tarkov, you can start with 500k and you can pull that out of a raid with ease, but in this, pulling 100k out is a good raid. Arena Breakout is an in-game market similar to Tarkov's flea market, but with a lot less restrictions. At the early levels, technically, you can spend all your money on insane kits from the get-go. I can see the negatives of this, but also some positives. If you kill someone kitted like this, you can flog it all and make loads of dollar, but if they roll up on you and you're not ready, they'll lamp you, and that's going to be rough. Now, of course, we can't ignore that it's a free-to-play game. On the surface, it's great. Thousands more people get to experience extraction shooters for free, but when you delve deeper, you start to question how they generate money. Microtransactions are a given, but the line needs to be drawn clearly. Any pay-to-win aspects could bring this game down hard before it's even taken off. Cosmetics are the only way to go. Personally, I'd rather see cosmetics that stick with the theme of the game and no silly designs, but we'll see. Games like Valorant and Warzone are able to stay free to play purely down to cosmetic microtransactions, keeping the pay-to-win aspects far, far away. As far as it goes for tasks in the game, that'll take some time until I've completed more of them, but so far, they seem like pretty bog standard fetch and kill tasks. To be honest, it's a shame these have become the norm in the genre, but who knows, maybe they'll get more interesting further down the line. We can't ignore the graphics. This game looks great. Being built on Unreal Engine 5 gives it longevity and efficiency, which also leads me to my next point. The performance. Honestly, I was expecting it to be somewhat lackluster, since recently a lot of new games demand extremely high spec systems just to get decent performance. The game runs great. I have a 3070 and run at 1440p just fine with only 16 gigs of RAM. For access to the beta, they set requirements for people with RTX 2060s and above, and I feel like this was to make sure whoever partakes has stable performance as a whole. I feel like it's fine to have recommendations, but if someone wants to play and they don't have the greatest GPU, you should still let them. Personally, it feels wrong simply locking people out. You could argue that they wouldn't experience it the way it should be, but from growing up without the best tech and lagging around on games when I was younger, I'd hate to not have had the chance. Something I absolutely love is a feature they've implemented where if you auto-match with a team and you have great gear on, if they kill you and try and take it from you in extract, that gear instantly gets sent back to you in your mail. Personally, I think it's great and it stops a lot of griefing. It gives you that extra bit of comfort if your mates aren't round to hop on and you don't want to run solo. But if an enemy kills you and your teammate still picks up an extract, it still gets sent back to you. Overall, I think the game is in a good place for beta. It's bringing some new things while also being heavily inspired by Tarkov, and inspired is being kind. It's hard to do an extraction shooter without changing how the loot works, but some mechanics and items are a bit too close to home, and at times it does feel like a multiverse version of Tarkov. It's like twins, but the non-identical kind. Only just. I've really enjoyed it so far and I'm looking forward to see where it goes. This is definitely the closest competitor I've ever seen to Tarkov, and I'm here for it. Not that I think this is better than Tarkov by any means, because I don't. Yet. There are features here that should have been added to Tarkov without a doubt years ago. They're both extremely similar, but there are elements here where it actually beats Tarkov. I really hope this pushes and motivates Battlestate to push their game further in the right direction. Competition in this genre has been needed for ages and it's about time. Like everyone says, this is win-win for us consumers and we will only be benefiting from this if both games push each other. I'm not sleeping on Greyzone either. They're in a very early state, but they've got a massive future and there is still a long time left in 2024. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe, and feel free to check out my Twitch where I'll be streaming Arena Breakout, Tarkov, Greyzone, and all sorts. Catch you next time.